We good? Hey, so I have a nice patient here who I think is kind of interesting. She's had implant exchange on her left eye. And what's interesting here is that she went from a regular distance lens to a multifocal. And what I think is interesting about that is that, most of the time videos online and stuff talk about doing implant exchanges for the 1 to 2% of multifocal patients who seek exchange to a monofocal lens, but in your case, you wanted to switch to a multifocal. Tell me about that and what made you interested in replacing your lens for a multifocal.
Mainly, my concern was the reading.
You just couldn't read.
I just couldn't read.
You're
I couldn't see my cell phone. And
ultra dependent on reading glasses, yes.
Right.
So she had a Alcon monofocal lens at another practice by a very competent surgeon, and at the time that's what she thought was what she wanted to do. But post-operatively, you just were really crippled by the need for reading glasses.
Correct.
So far we've only done an implant exchange on the left eye. We replaced it with a Johnson & Johnson Odyssey lens, and you, with just one eye having a multifocal, you have adequate reading for like looking at your phone, stuff like that.
Correct.
You have said that for like reading really tiny things, you will pick up some readers.
Correct.
But you overall have a lot more freedom, would you say?
Yes. I don't have to search for those glasses.
Glad you did it, yeah.
Yes, I'm glad I did it. Definitely.
Yeah, so she refracts to minus 0.25 in her left eye with no cylinder, no astigmatism. So that's, spot on for a Odyssey lens. We have debated whether or not to replace her right lens. Her right eye is a Alcon single piece acrylic. I think it's I guess the whatever the auto injector version of the SN60 WF was. I didn't do it, but you had your records. And she's plano in that eye, so she perceives really good distance in that eye. And at least right now, we're just gonna watch it for a little while and see how you do. But you feel like your distance vision is good, and
yes.
You feel like your reading vision is good, even with just one multifocal in there. So left eye is the non-dominant eye. What else? How many years ago was the original cataract surgery?
Oh, it was only, about a year ago or 2 years ago?
About 1 to 2 years, okay. And then you found me and we did the implant exchange. And one other interesting thing, you have much less reflection off the implant in the left eye than you do the right eye. There's less twinkle in her eye. Alcon lenses have really significantly noticeable reflection in the pupil from the particular type of acrylic. Johnson & Johnson acrylic does not have near as much of that. But she's doing great. We're really happy we could help her. Again, interesting case because most of the IOL exchanges you hear about are in patients who had a multifocal lens primarily and end up in the 1 to 2% of patients who will seek surgical implant exchange to go away from a multifocal to a monofocal. And most of the time what puts people in that camp is honestly they probably weren't a good candidate for it to begin with, or else their what's known as their refractive target was just not quite hit. But in your case, you had monofocals and you just didn't love it. One interesting bit, you were a little bit hyperopic in your left eye. It was like about a plus 0.5 or so in your original Alcon lens, and now we've got you to minus a quarter. Possibly you're somewhere between minus a quarter and minus a half now. But anyways, interesting case. We appreciate you sharing your story.
I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful.
All right, thanks.